Welcome to another awesome edition of On the Line, episode 4. It's Priestley. On this episode, we're talking to Coach Jesse Balsamo from ODP, as well as from WorldStrides, the one and only Eric McAleer. Welcome to On the Line. I am Priestley, your host, and we are here with an ODP coach. I'm really excited. It's Jesse Balsamo.
Yes.
So welcome, brother. How are you today?
Thank you. I'm great. Thanks for having me.
We're excited, and I'm really excited because being a soccer dad, I've heard of the ODP program forever. And you guys do some incredibly cool stuff. You're here to educate us, talk to us about it, and how other players could get involved. We got tryouts on the way in a little while.
Yes, definitely.
So before we get into it, tell me about you and your love and history with soccer.
Sure. So I've been an ODP coach now going on 6 years, staying in the under 15 boys age group. It's a really great age group. I think it's really fun. It's sort of at the U12 level. We have 4 teams that are made with the players that come and try out. And then at U13, it goes down to 3 teams. And then U14 goes down to 2 teams. Mm-hmm. And then you can tell as where my team gets made, it's down to 1 team. So usually, like we have the, probably like around 70, 75, 80 players try out. We try and get it, narrowed down to 25 or less, usually sometimes 23 to 25, I would say.
And that's per team?
Yeah, that's for my one team, that age group.
Amazing.
Yep. And then from there, as the sessions go on, we're building up towards our regional event in June. And then we have to trim down that roster again to 18.
Man, all right.
Yep.
Let me tell you, ODP is no joke. What does it stand for those who may not know?
The Olympic Development Program.
It's huge.
Yeah, that's super huge. There are a couple pathways to the national team at this, in the environment that we're in now in youth soccer.
Okay.
And this is one of them. Every year, in usually the first week of July, the players that compete in the June tournament will get selected to go and represent their state at the national or at the regional team level. So there'll be, let's say, 100 kids will go that are playing in the June event and get selected to go to Connecticut and try out for the regional team.
For friends of ours who may not be familiar, what is the June event? It sounds like a really
June
big
event.
one.
Yeah, it's sort of what the ODP program on the state level is built to try and get to. So you make the roster, you go and you compete against other states. You get 3 games, a Friday, Saturday, Sunday game, and you'll have the regional team staff will be there, evaluating players, talking with coaches, but usually just looking at the players and trying to figure out if that's a player that they think should be at that July event in Connecticut to compete to make the regional team.
Wow.
Yep.
So once you make that regional team.
Sure. So then there's an event in January that following year that they go down to Florida, and all 4 regions of the states meet down there. I think they call it the interregional tournament.
Cool.
So like
Cool.
Region 1 will be competing against Region 4 or Region East now, sorry. So
this is where it's getting real serious.
Yep. So then the national team for ODP is created there.
Insane. Now
Yes.
that national team does do international.
Yes, they
travel.
do offer something. I don't know too much about it that far down the line, but they do offer some sort of a travel event where they'll go and they'll put together a team to go and compete somewhere.
That's where we really find our U.S. muster, my
Yep.
friends.
Yep.
So Jesse, let me ask you this. What does being an ODP coach mean to you?
It's a real honor for me. Coach Gandalf has put together over the last, 6 years a really talented, incredible staff. We have great camaraderie. I think we share obviously a love for the ODP, program. And, the vision and the love we have for the players, is what it's all about. We're able to offer the players something that they might not get in their home environment. So often I think one of the big joys that we have is we have, players that might be at the top of their team.
Yeah.
That's, a good team, an average, above
Sure,
average
a strong team.
Sure, but he's the best player on that team, and then he comes into our environment, and maybe he's, got to struggle or, he's got to fight for it a little bit more. So it brings something out of him. And then,
Love that.
Yeah, then we might have somebody that's, at the bottom, like the first kid off the bench on a really high level team. And now all of a sudden they're the leaders. They're the ones that are, have the experience. And, I find that to be the best part of the environment for me.
I was going to say, I mean, like as a coach, that you're developing these very strong players to find something even deeper within and bring it out. How do you do it?
Yeah, I think it's easy when you get the right players around.
Nice.
You have, like I said, maybe that one kid that's in that crazy environment and, struggling for minutes, but works so hard, right? Is always willing to fight and is a great teammate usually. And then all of a sudden here you're looking at them being like, come on, man, like you're the leader now. You're the one that's been playing in these big games.
You're firing me up, brother. Teamwork makes the dream work, and
sure.
you are screaming it here on the line. That's what we talk about. So I love that. You're not only developing the individual player, but like the social and the team structure.
Yep. A lot of times tryouts, end of training sessions, often, really often, the one thing that I always tell them is, we're here to showcase their abilities, but in a team setting.
Yes.
Right? So, like, you want to go and try and dribble 55 people, and then, it might work, and you might showcase what you're capable of doing. But is that the team game too? Are we looking to bring in your teammates and make them, look good as well?
And to be fair, when you are playing at this higher elite level, if you think you're breaking through 50 players, it doesn't happen. And that's where trust and knowing where nothing makes me more excited when I see a team that knows each other and like they're playing and you get the no-look pass. And it's like, boom, oh my gosh, they knew what they were doing.
Yep. I mean, don't get me wrong, the creative side and the, the 1v1 dribbling and the taking players on is all part of it.
Sure.
But is it the right time? Is it the right, location on the field? Is it the right moment for where you just need to, you need to do it?
You're talking about pretty much in-game smarts.
Yeah, like IQ, soccer IQ.
Which is something we don't talk a lot about. And I really do believe that play is a major part.
Yep.
It maintaining even... I've always said this to my kids. You got to stay calm and composed. It is the most intense match ever, yet you need that calm and composed so you can maintain that IQ.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's really key. So what do you feel sets Maryland ODP players apart from, let's say, other regions in your opinion?
Yeah, this is a tricky question because
Maryland.
I think, Maryland. Yeah, I love it too. I'm about it, like, don't get me wrong.
We bleed Old Bay, baby.
but I think that's a really tricky question only because I think Virginia, New Jersey, PA East, I'm
a New York guy. I get it. I get it.
Yeah, they can play. And I wouldn't say that like we're miles ahead or miles behind or anything.
Sure.
I think like us 3 or 4 states that are typically where the team gets made from. Last year at the event, we played West Virginia.
Okay.
And I was like, West Virginia on our schedule, they must have a team.
Sure.
So like
think,
once
absolutely.
in a while you'll see some of the other states get a match against, Virginia or New Jersey or PA East or us. And you're like, man, I bet you they're going to be really good.
And
they
are.
They ran us into the ground last year. That was a tough one. I was like, wow, like where did they get all these dudes from? Like they were monsters.
And you know what? I tell this to my kids. Winning is awesome. Yeah. Don't get me wrong. Love winning. However, when you lose, you kind of win too.
Yeah.
Because you can do that assessment and figure out, all right, where can we be better? What are we learning from and what are we taking from this match to the next one?
The L really stands for learn, I think, when you take that. It's like you can win or you can learn. Like those are the two. I guess you could draw also, but you can probably learn from as well. But
yes,
those are.
Oh, you just gave me chills though. When you take the L, you're taking a learning moment.
Yeah, if we turn it the right way. I mean, who knows what they're getting in the car? But the car ride home. Well, Dad, how you feel about that one?
Let me tell you, I've been on both sides of it. I've supported, I've lifted and celebrated. I know what it's like to learn. I know what it's like to learn a lot. And let me tell you, you got to hold on to the silver linings. Yeah. And just what I always, because I have a goalie and I have a 6 and I have a 10.
Oh, you got a spine of a team.
We do.
You need one more though at center back, and then you'll be all set.
That's me.
Oh, that was you. Perfect.
When I could play. But anyway, not anymore. Now I'm the Achilles heel. Yeah. But again, it is this vibe of don't forget, it's a game. We're here to have fun. Winning is awesome, losing, but you know what? We leave it on the field, we come home, and we just shed it, and let's live life. And then we'll get back to the pitch.
Yep.
It's important. It's a challenge, brother.
Yeah,
but, okay, speaking of from the parents, what do you think parents should expect from their child's ODP experience, whether it be at the tryouts or if they are blessed to make the team?
Yeah, I think, you should expect something a little bit different.
Okay.
Obviously, like as coaches, I can speak for myself, like I might know 5 kids that are at tryouts. Either they were, from previous ODP years, maybe through club, maybe through high school. Like I might know a kid that comes up, or camp is a big one.
Yes.
But everybody else, there's many that I don't know, right? So I don't know what makes them tick. I don't know, if they're the first dude off the bench or they're the top dude on their team. There are so many things that are unknown, which makes it an environment that is going to be a challenge sometimes, for them. Like I know my club players inside and out.
Absolutely.
I know how to make one feel great. I know how to challenge another one. Whereas here, I have to figure it out and look at the kid and sort of do it all at the same time. We get the 10 sessions with each other.
Okay.
It's
limited.
Over the course of the season. But yeah, I mean, like, he might be a goalie that makes crazy saves in a game, but he hasn't done it at training. Or he might be a kid that scores all the goals for his team, but he hasn't done it in training. Or it might be a kid that doesn't usually perform in a certain team, and now all of a sudden you're looking at him and you're like, man, this kid's doing, this, and this, and this.
Something's igniting
So then
here.
all of a sudden you have a kid whose parent is just like, I've never seen my kid do that before. Why? What's going on? And I'm like, he's looking at the area around him and saying, okay, like what? I can do that. And it pushes players to do things that, that they either aren't used to doing. Like, I'm not used to, how do I be the first kid off the bench? If it's a regular starter, that's a challenge.
It's a huge challenge.
And I would hope that the parents at home are looking at that and saying, this is great. Like, this is why you do this kind of thing.
Correct.
To push them a little bit outside of their comfort zone.
So therefore, moms and dads, if you do believe your child has that extra special something, I highly recommend an open, honest relationship with your coach.
Yeah.
Talk to the coach, and if you really feel that, your kid has an opportunity to shine, this is another great pool to go swimming in to try.
Yeah.
How can parents find ODP and get them involved in tryouts or
I think
the program?
The website. I mean, I think that there's, there are many tryout dates in the fall. They're usually maybe like mid-September to sometime in the middle of October, I would say. And then there's callback training sessions as well, or tryout sessions. But yeah, I think, like the more we see the kids, so they're allowed to go to a max of 2 tryouts out of the maybe 6 on offer.
Okay.
So obviously if you go to 1 and you're a superstar, you might, have enough points to get you through all the way. But obviously the more you tryouts you attend the 2, then you get more opportunities to get a better look at the players.
Now, for players, what kind of qualities are you guys looking for this upper level?
Yeah, so I think like every coach, we have usually 3 or 4 coaches at tryouts all watching the same session going on.
Got it.
Right? So it's not just me, what I love about the game, right? Because you might love something totally different. But, as far as I'm concerned, I'm looking for players with personality, energetic, comfortable on the ball, creative in the right ways, right? Like, with passes or with ways that they defend even sometimes, or, ways that they attack, but versatility is huge. Let's say I'm a 10, right? I have 40 10s trying out. Right? So who's going to go and play right back? Who's going to go and step back a little bit and play as a 6? Or who's the 6 going to step back and play as a center
Versatility
back?
is huge at this level.
Yeah, it's huge. It's huge at the level, but also in the program. just because a lot of times we do get a lot of those attacking wingers. We do get a lot of those 10s and 6s. And, they're the ones that shine in the tryouts, like.
Do we get a lot of keepers?
Yes.
Do we? Okay,
yeah.
because I'm a dad of a keep.
Yeah,
so
okay, good, yeah.
That's a challenging position out there.
Yes, that was so challenging. I don't know how they do it. I always tell them they're a little strange. They wear different color uniforms than everybody else.
So true. Again, my eldest, he's a special breed. I love you, Jack, but you're a special breed.
Yeah.
Those keepers. Crazy.
Yeah, but the coolest thing for goalkeepers is they get a good amount of time. They get, I would say, between 30 and 50 minutes every Monday with goalkeeper-specific coaches doing specific topics, that are similar to what we're doing as a team on the field a couple fields over.
That's brilliant.
Yeah, so it's great for goalkeepers. I think it's a really ideal way to make sure that you're getting, really good, not one-on-one necessarily, because you're with 10 other like-minded, likability.
You've got your goalie squad.
Yeah, exactly.
And I love the support the goalies have for each other too.
Yeah. That is actually really great. It's it's a position where you might have two on a team, and there's only one obviously that can play. So like being on the bench is a big part for a goalkeeper, in my opinion.
It requires patience, confidence, as well as empathy and compassion. It's a true teamwork.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. Even though there's only one on the field at the time, it is a big teamwork. Then they have to go. They have to be ready at the end of the 40 minutes or the 35 minutes, whatever you're playing. They got to be ready to go and step in after sitting on the bench for 45 minutes.
And that is hard work.
Hard work.
I've seen it happen. So props to our keeps.
Yes, definitely.
I'm telling you, I wish my kids were in the ODP program. Dang it. What's the website offhand? Is ODP?
I think it's MSYSA.org, maybe.
It's under us.
Yeah, it's under us.
All right, perfect. So MSYSA.org. And again, we mentioned Gandalf earlier. He is the greatest.
Absolutely.
So you guys do some really exciting trips. ODP travels. Talk to us about some of the destinations you've been, some of the experiences, locations.
Yeah, well, vacations, work, it's work, sort of. Work. I've been to Barcelona 3 times.
Wow.
Yeah, and I've been to Lisbon, Portugal, once as well. Yeah.
Now, do you get to go to the stadiums? Do you get to go see like Barca
stadium,
and stuff like?
So this last trip, we went to Barcelona.
Gosh.
I got to see Espanyol play on a Friday night, and then on a Saturday, we went to go see Barcelona play. So we got both home games in that weekend.
Wow.
It was incredible. Yeah, it was incredible.
And when you're going, you're taking the entire squad.
Yeah, the whole team, the families that are traveling.
Fun.
With them. Yeah, it's incredible. We get great seats. I've never had a bad seat.
Wow.
Yep. So it was really cool. Yeah, this last Barcelona game we were at was versus Celta Vigo. Celta was up 3-1. Barcelona came back to win 4-3 with a penalty kick in like the last 96th minute of actually it was enough.
I'm feeling it.
Yeah,
I feel
wild.
like I'm almost there, and this is why I'm telling you the coaches, the crew, they love the beautiful game.
Yeah, it does. They do. The game means everything to them in the cities that I've been to with MSYSA. They mean
football is life. I
really
quote
is.
Ted Lasso all the time. I mean, so let me ask, what is it like for the players when they face some international competition? They leave the States and now let's go play.
Yeah, sometimes, I think they think they're going to like roll the dudes. And they're big dogs. And, I try my best to prepare them in a way that says like, this is not like what it's like at home, right? We're coming into their... often their towns, like in Europe, a lot of the youth teams have little stadiums set up in their neighborhoods with cafes and bars attached.
Wow.
So
parents, we need to tell our clubs to step up. Let's go cafe and bars, baby.
Yes, it is. It is amazing. We get a changing room everywhere we go.
Whoa.
So it's really cool. So we'll go into the changing room. We'll usually talk a little bit about the starting lineup and what to expect. A lot of times when I travel, I play a lot of the same sort of like clubs.
Okay.
And sometimes they have, we have a little history with them.
Oh, nice.
So they, one time, a funny story is we were over in Calafé, which is where we stay in Spain.
Got it.
Little beach town. It's beautiful. Right outside Barcelona, about 40 minutes maybe.
Never been. Want to go.
Oh my gosh, you should come.
Bucket list.
Yeah. I'll talk to somebody and see if we can get you on the trip.
Knew I love Jesse.
Yeah. And we showed up and we beat them. They looked like their dudes were like like a year younger than us,
Okay.
maybe. But it was like still a good game.
I was going to say, I bet you they put up a fight.
It was still a good game. But the next year we showed up, they had dudes in full beards, muscles bigger than I've ever seen before, tall guys. I was like, uh-oh. Oh my gosh, that was a story, man. Those dudes, they played as hard as anything I've ever seen.
And
they
our boys
took
were
it
like,
to us like nobody's business. But I think we all left the field being like, you know what? If we're gonna go and play in Europe, that's
what we
expect. Like that's what we want.
We got a big L.
Yeah.
Learning experience.
Oh, for sure.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it was hilarious. You know, like you think about the ball going out of bounds, right? And sometimes we'll shield it out of bounds if it's going to be our throw-in.
Sure.
They did nothing like that. They would sprint to get that ball, keep it in bounds, run straight to our goal.
This is what I see in professional ball, and when I'm watching my kids play, I'm like, man, you got to run hard, go hard,
go hard all the time.
All the time.
And they they would pass the ball in for like what would be a tap in here. You know, we'd like little side foot it into the net and go and celebrate. They would hit it so hard the net would
go through the net.
I mean, it was a tap in, nobody in sight. Bam, the ball would go flying, and I'd just be like, wow, you see like how much more it meant to them.
That's amazing.
Yeah, that was a funny
Jesse.
experience. And I told them, I was like, guys, last time we killed him, I'm really sorry. This time we got killed.
This is the reason why, though. Yeah. And also, and what I love, like, I think when you play together as a team, year after year after year, you really do develop and grow as that unit. So
yeah.
That's exciting to watch.
Yeah, a couple other things I would say, you know, for them, like we're going into their neighborhoods, right? Like their families are there, their friends are coming, you know, neighbors are coming to watch them, you know, play against us. They're always so friendly and so like proud to host us.
That's awesome.
Yeah, the opponents are always like the best part, I think. You know, like I always go and, you know, say hi to them, and they're like, oh, they are, you know, they're dying to try and speak English to me, and
I'm buzzing.
It's so cool.
Do you? How about like relationships? Have you made friends over there that have stayed
definitely
the time?
Coaches that I recognize. They have in Barcelona. They have like the godfather of like soccer, youth soccer over there.
What's that?
I don't know. He just like organizes every event, makes sure that like the teams that we're gonna play are ready to host us, and organizes everything. I don't know. Every time I see him, I'm like, "You're the man." Yeah, youth soccer. Yep.
Youth soccer.
Yep, that's it. Yep.
Man.
It is.
Well, whoever
really cool.
you are,
yeah,
thank you.
I should have remembered his name, but yeah,
whatever,
fun.
man. I'm telling you, it sounds like these trips are just an incredible experience. And then you've got these kids, like from here in America, who are going away for the first time in life, maybe not with moms and dads. Talk to our parents about that experience.
Yeah, you know, I think that the trips are organized to be safe.
Yes.
You know, really fun. And, you know, play a lot of football, do a lot of sightseeing and culture. You know, we stay, like when we were in Lisbon, we stayed outside Lisbon. When we were staying in Barcelona, we're just slightly outside. I think they do it, you know, like the organization does it just to make sure that we're, you know, always in a great, safe environment. Like the beach town I was saying, like we stay in outside Barcelona is just so beautiful. It's so safe. Kids running around everywhere. You know, our dudes trying to join in with them. Like last time they had a big game on the beach.
I was going to say, did we get beach time?
Oh, yeah.
I'm a big beach guy.
Yep.
We need to go to the beach.
Yep. We went to some really beautiful beaches while we were there. Played a lot of soccer at the beaches.
Let me ask, what are the fields like in Europe? Are they turf? Are they grass?
So
what are they playing on?
All pretty much turf. Like I said, the neighborhoods have their own little fields that they train on and play home games on. All turf typically.
Got it.
All fully enclosed, so like there's one way in, one way out.
Wow.
Yep. So you know, like, it's really cool. They're really cool.
I want to play ODP.
Yeah.
And if you do too, MSYSA.org. Coach Jesse, brother, this has been a blast.
Good. I'm glad. I had a lot of fun.
I had more fun, and I hope you're serious. Who are we talking to about taking me along to Barcelona?
I don't know. Maybe Gandalf.
On the line, Gandalf, overseas. I see this coming. Coach Jesse, it has been a true pleasure.
Cool.
Awesome meeting
Thanks
you again, and continued success.
All right. Thanks a lot.
Yo, it's Priestley. We were just talking about the travels of ODP and heading over to Europe and whatnot. Well, now I am here with the man, the myth, the legend, because when I was told Eric McAleer is going to be on the line, people were like, dude, He's awesome. Get ready. Welcome, brother.
Thank you, Priestley. Great to be here.
It's
this is an awesome show you do. Excited to be here. Excited to chat all things MSYSA and international travel and everything else around that.
So now you started this sports travel company. It was Excel International Sports.
Yeah, I started it in the late 90s, Priestley, and really it was based on, you know, my experiences growing up. You know, as a high school sophomore in Scotland, I got the chance to travel when I was with my soccer team. We went to Switzerland. It was it was a field trip. It was 27 hours on a bus. It was, but it was life changing. It opened my eyes. It was the first time I'd traveled out of the country with my team. We played soccer over there. You know, we get submerged in the Swiss cultures. And I say to everybody, that's kind of when the light went on and it's never gone off. And it burns even, burns even stronger today because of...
We often talk on the line about like the lessons of the game that translate to off the pitch.
Yeah.
And these are what we're talking about. You're spreading your wings into new cultures, meeting new people.
Correct.
You're bonding with your teammates.
Correct.
As you take on this journey, as you say. I do. I get goosebumps, and I think it's so important.
And I think there's so many learnings to be taken from it.
And I love that. And getting back to then bringing our players to Europe, how do you think it benefits them when they kind of, and I say this respectfully, have an awakening to what soccer's like in Europe?
Yeah, and I think to the point I mentioned earlier is, Europe is generational. It's a game that goes back hundreds of years in some places. And so WorldStrides, is an educational company. We're the largest educational travel company in North America. It just so happens I manage and oversee the sports division. So we've got education in everything we do. We're overseen and we work under, an educational umbrella.
So as much as you are sports driven, it is totally educational.
It's educational, and I think that's really one of the cool parts. Like on our trips, every kid that travels on our trip, if they're a middle school age, they can qualify for high school credit. If they're high school age, they can qualify for up to 3 college credits.
Wow.
And that comes at no cost because we're an accredited institution.
That's amazing.
So those are, we value education so much in what we do. It just so happens to be with a ball at your feet.
It kind of, education is the key. I mean, I have athletes, but they're student athletes, and we often say the student does come first.
Correct.
You never know what happens with we talk about injuries. And
correct.
It's a highly competitive world.
In that regard.
Truly experts. And let's talk to the parents who may not be traveling with their kids. What are their children like, as far as who's their mentors? And I know you're choosing safe destinations. Let's speak to that.
The number one thing for us, Priestley, is the number one word by a country mile is safety. And what comes along with safety, and it's the world that I live in every day, is risk management, health and safety, and liability. And those are the first pieces, those are the first pillars. The sporting content and everything else that comes after that is a very distant second.
Nice.
Safety is the be all and end all. You're taking somebody's most treasured,
Thank you.
You're taking somebody's most treasured,
I'm helicopter neurotic dad, freak out over everything. So my children.
That's got to be our investment is safety by a country mile comes first. And that's where we begin. And then all the other piece, comes a distant second. There's the sporting content, there's the accommodation, the meals, the buses, the tour directors, all of the above. So it's a great starting place.
It's where you want to start.
We know there's a great peace of mind is that's where all of our stuff begins. And to add to that, I think that's a key component of, we've kind of live and breathe that. Nice. And that's all of our staff. That's the tour directors. They're all trained. They're all, we spend a lot of time investing in our tour directors. We have a tour director with every group, and they meet you at the airport and leave you at the airport. They're with you 24/7.
Excellent.
They manage, all the moving pieces of everybody every day. They set the tone for, tomorrow's plan. They're local. They speak the language. They,
camp counselor kind of vibe.
Correct.
Love it.
And those are pivotal, but they also. They understand what health and safety means. They all, they're trained on all of, you know, they're safe sport trained.
Yep.
You know, so they've got to be on the ball with all of that stuff, and I think those are all the key components as well. But what I say, you know, you've got to have an open mind, positive attitude, and you've got to go embrace the culture of that destination. For example, you know, I remember one of our college teams. They went to Barcelona, Spain, and they played a game and it kicked off at 10 o'clock at night. You know, we would never do that here. But when you go for a nap between 2 and 5 in the afternoon and you have a siesta and the stores are all closed and you have dinner at 8:30, you know, you're going to play soccer at 10 o'clock sometimes.
You have the energy.
Correct.
You're ready.
And it's just, that's their culture. And when you're a guest in their country, you got to kind of buy into what their cultures are.
That.
And sometimes that's the hard part is, we're so regimented and we're so wired.
Yes,
and,
we are.
You know, and we eat dinner at 5:30 and we're at practice at 6:30 and we're home for 8:30 and we do homework and we go to bed and
that's not the way the world
and
works.
it's just, you know, I always go back to this open mind, positive attitude. You know, it's easy to complain about the food.
Sure.
You know, food is different. Or, you know, I'm generalizing here, but the portions are not necessarily as big as they are here.
It's an
American thing.
It is a very American thing.
And
Oh
and
my
you don't.
God.
No, that was good. That was good.
Sorry.
No, good.
I was afraid
But
of that.
even simple little things like you don't get ice in your drinks. You know, drinks are typically served at room temperature, so you've got to ask for ice, and sometimes asking for ice gets you 1 cube.
Interesting.
You know,
it's a different way. So
it's
you
a different.
are learning to
So those are the things
behave
that.
differently and keep your mind
Correct.
open and stay positive.
And I feel as if that's such a pivotal part. If you are a coach, if you are a board member, if you are a leader, is you set the tone for those 13-year-old kids that are learning new life lessons.
You're right.
You know, one of my favorite experiences, and you know I could talk about this for hours, and I know we've got a time limit here.
Nah.
But I look back, I remember one of our high school girls team from DC, Good Counsel High School Girls. Phenomenal soccer program, Coach Bruno. And Coach is, you know, Italian family, loves to take, you know, he traveled to 6 different countries through the years with us, but he loved to take his teams to Italy. And I remember one particular trip, they were in Venice and they had played, and he had asked the team, so there was, you know, 20 players and 20 parents, and he had tasked the team, you're going to make dinner tonight in the hotel.
Okay.
But you're going to work with the kitchen staff. And P.S., none of them speak English, and none of you speak Italian.
Wow.
But you've got to make dinner, and it's going to be 3 course. They've got the expertise, but we're going to put you all in the kitchen together, and you're going to
figure it
serve,
out.
and you got to figure it out.
You're going to figure it out.
And what an amazing experience watching that. You know, you saw the leaders, you saw the followers, you saw the teamwork, you saw the communication, you saw the problem solving, you saw the, you know, the
This
troubleshooting.
is everything we're learning
Correct.
on the field.
Correct. And, you know, I always say that
Genius.
the soccer and the global game is the piece that pulls it together, but the life lessons that they attain are far more, you know,
my
everlasting.
God.
And
Yes.
when I look back to that little experience, that's the one that I use that as an example is, you know, talk about your comfort zone. You know, you're in a hotel kitchen in southern Italy.
I think
you
it's
know,
beautiful.
and that's the stuff that, you know, I always say in 30 years, what are they going to remember?
You're darn right.
You're not going to remember who you played or what the score was.
No.
You know, but you're maybe going to remember that guy that you shared a room with, or you're maybe going to remember, you know, Messi scoring in the last minute against Espanyol, or you're maybe
You're
going to
gonna
remember
the culinary experience coming together and serving this 3-course
Correct.
meal. Yeah,
Correct.
that's soccer.
And so those are the really cool parts. You know, as I used the quote earlier, soccer's the gel that pulls it together, but the life skills that they attain are just everlasting.
Yes.
And that's the part that's the beauty of it. You know, and we're blessed and privileged to be in this game, and we're blessed and privileged to lead in this game, and you know,
Yes.
take people on that journey and get the opportunity to take people on that journey.
And I mean, I feel your energy. I've got the chills. And
See, I've got the chills because of this spilled water.
well, I'm so sorry about that. And that was a first, and that'll be a last. We won't put water on the table next time. Constantly learning. It's an education.
You hear me say it a lot, but I feel, you know, I think back to that high school sophomore from Glasgow, Scotland, when I went my first experience to Switzerland. That was my first, you know, out of the comfort zone experience, but I love it even more today. I'm even more passionate about it today because, I think of these kids coming back on that plane for the first out of the country experience, and you feel as if you've just whet their appetite a little bit.
I love it.
And
started something.
I've got 2 daughters myself, and they've traveled a lot, but one thing that I really tried to instill in them, they both just left college in the last year or two, but one thing I kind of really dug into them is I wanted them to experience a semester abroad. I was so passionate about that, and my oldest daughter did a semester in Athens, Greece. My youngest daughter did a semester in Barcelona, Spain, and it was kind of life-changing for both of them also. I'm just such a believer in what that represents. And it was life-changing for them, and has, really opened their eyes to the world as well.
I think it's very important. And as someone who has not done a lot of travel, and I encourage people to travel, and I'm trying to encourage my family and kids to travel. My wife is Australian.
Right.
So we definitely get the values of learning other cultures.
Yeah.
And it's about being positive and embracing. And it's just, let me tell you, teamwork makes the dream work. Of course it is.
And I think to go back to MSYSA leadership and Mark and Greg and Gandalf and Nathan and all the people that work here is, awesome. We've been on this journey for 26 years together. It's been, the key to it has been teamwork and collaboration. Absolutely. And seeing the vision and seeing where we could take this. And for us together, I spend a lot of time with Mark and Greg, and, we debrief every year, and we look at new destinations, and we look at how did that go, and, can we do this better, and what about 2 years down the road, can we look at this, and it's great to be in such a, forward-thinking, progressive team, because end of the day, this is all for the kids.
100%.
It's for their it's for their betterment and for their growth and for their life experience, and to have that teamwork and synergy and kind of proactive vision, it's a great place to be. And so they've been on that journey. We've all been on that journey together, and it's just constantly, to have 250 people from MSYSA traveling every spring break it's a really cool place to be.
Let me tell you, you guys are the angels of soccer. We appreciate all that you do. And then before we say goodbye for now, because we're going to have Eric McAleer back.
Yes.
But there's so much more we can talk about, and I got to pour more water on it. But just how can teams get involved?
Yeah, they can find us through our WorldStrides.com website,
there it is.
On social media, through LinkedIn.
Okay.
Very busy on all that stuff. And I don't shy away from it. We like to say we are the experts. We've been doing this a long, long time.
Yes.
And we're really good at it. And we'll guide you down that right road. And I think that's the exciting part, is getting on the journey together.
Well, teams, you need to reach out, worldstrides.com. And I'm going to do what I can to bring on the line on the road. I was talking to Coach Jesse. We were saying maybe Barcelona or something like that.
Yes.
So I could go meditate on the beach.
And Coach Jesse's been great. Coach Jesse's he's traveled often with us. And again, when you've got a leader, when you've got a coach, they kind of set the tone for the young people on their trip. But he's got so much experience, especially of Barcelona. Jesse's traveled a lot with us, and he understands the takeaways that he wants for the kids. So he sets the tone. He brings his level of energy to the table, and it's brilliant to watch the kids having that experience with him.
It's the best.
Yeah, it is.
This experience has been the best.
Wonderful.
Eric McAleer.
Priestley.
I'm so sorry
really
for dumping
appreciate
water
really
on
appreciate.
you.
This has been amazing, and kudos to you and MSYSA. Here we sit in a podcast special room.
This is
great.
And we're
to
growing.
think of 21 years ago when I joined this board, we were not at this place. So kudos to you, Mark, Greg, and everybody here for the journey. To continue to do great things, and massive congrats to you for all that you're doing.
Positivity, education.
Of course it is.
Teamwork.
Of course it is.
Brother,
thank you again.
Thank you so much.
That's been great.
I can't believe that happened. I'm so embarrassed. It's your boy P. Thank you again for checking out On the Line. I want to give a hug and a shout out to Coach Jesse Balsamo of ODP, as well as Eric McAleer, who, let me spill water all over his lap. I am so sorry. And if you need a new pair of pants, just let Greg know at MSYSA. Anyway, on the next episode, if you want me to pour something on you, let me know. Hit me up at Priestley, okay? Priestley at MSYSA.org. Stay dry.